The following program contains sexual content. Viewer discretion advised. Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
I was 11 years old. Part of me knew that this was not the way that fathers love their daughters.
Her parents did the unthinkable.
The first time you were forced to do this, your mother videotapes this.
Yes. She would give me tips.
Teaching you how to French kiss your biological father.
Now, 20 years later, she confronts her mom.
How could you? Watch him do those things to me to participate, even.
I know I made poor choices.
My innocence was stolen from me.
In what parallel universe does a mother watch her daughter performing a sex act on her husband and her father? Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I'll try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Well, today you're going to meet Amanda, her mother Justine, and her father Jim. Amanda says growing up, her parents spoiled her rotten. A trampoline, swing sets, a pool, nothing was too much. But Amanda's parents weren't just giving her everything. According to Amanda, their extravagance was all part of their plan to keep her quiet. So why would Amanda's parents want to buy her silence? Well, because when Amanda was 11, until she turned 13, her father and mother forced her to have sex with both of them. And they needed her to keep her mouth shut. Amanda says her parents plied her with alcohol to make her comfortable, took provocative pictures of her, and even videotaped their sexual encounters, all with the plan to sell them for profit.
My parents forced me to have sex with them when I was 11 years old to 13. The first time that Jim tried to have sex with me, I actually was not able. Justine was there. They tried a progression of things that might ease the pain. Justine had even suggested alcohol. That did work. Afterwards, it was a normal night, dessert, brush my teeth, and bedtime. Justine would show me how good sex could feel by having sex with my father in front of me. Justine was always present. That was one of the rules. She would give me tips. She took me into the bathroom to teach me how to French kiss. In order to do that, she kissed me. Jim would have Justine and I both have sex with them, both on and off of camera. Justine looked like she was enjoying it and encouraged me to enjoy sex. If I wasn't enjoying it, the camera could tell. As long as I didn't say anything to anyone, they would buy me different things, games, trampoline, constantly reward me with things that I wanted. Jim and Justine would threaten that if I talked about any of this to anyone, I would never see the house or my dogs, my trampoline ever again. They were child molesting bad parents. I hated them. I loathed them.
Well, if you're shaking your head in disbelief right now, then I'm with you. I'm shaking my head in disbelief as well. And when I started this show 15 years ago, I said we were going to talk about the silent epidemics in America and the activity that happens in some families are things we're just not supposed to talk about in polite society, right? There are a lot of children at home, children in families right now today that are living this kind of nightmare, and I refuse to turn a deaf ear to those silent cries. Amanda refuses to refer to these people as mom and dad. That's why she calls them by their names. She endured this until the age of 13, when her physical nightmare came to an end. The tenant found the pictures of Amanda on a computer in the home and called the police. Her parents, Jim and Justine, were arrested. They were convicted. Justine spent 15 years in jail. Jim, 16 years in jail. They have since been released from prison, but Amanda says those horrific events from so long ago still haunt her to this very day.
It's been 20 years since that nightmare ended, but it's still hard to grasp the idea that they are out of prison. Part of me is still angry. The way that they apologize, it's very shocking. It's always been followed by a but, some kind of a finger pointing. I don't think I've ever received a real apology from Jim. After he got out of prison, Jim got in touch with me through Facebook. When I found that he was just as manipulative as I remembered, I chose to break off the relationship. I want Justine to give me a sincere apology. She refuses to acknowledge that she had any significant part in this, but there are videos where you can clearly see she definitely was not unwilling. It takes every bit of effort in me not to wish harm on Justine.
Well, Amanda, I'm glad to meet you.
Glad to be here.
I'm sorry that we're talking about what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I admire your courage for being here and your courage for talking about it, and I don't want to be inappropriate. I don't want to embarrass you in any way, but I do want people to know what we're talking about here. You were 11 the first time Jim made you perform a sex act, correct?
Yes.
Take me through your 11-year-old mind at that point.
Fear, mainly. Fear of not making him happy, fear of getting caught. Part of me still knew that it was wrong. This was not the way that fathers loved their daughters. Just from interactions with, other family members and friends and such, I knew it was wrong. It wasn't, and I just felt disgusted. I felt like I had done something to maybe make him think that I had wanted it.
Was there a lead up to this? Did he groom you in some way? Did this come out of the blue?
No, it was more of a grooming. Justine was a part of their prostitution company, and he had made suggestions beforehand when I was probably about 9. That he wanted me to get into the business. He wanted me to possibly go on jobs with her. And it just kind of progressed from there. It was more suggestions at first, and then it just kind of started with pictures. At first it was pictures of, well, I'd like to take a nice picture of you for your mother for Christmas. I think that would be, that's something she would really like. And the pictures got more and more graphic. And that was kind of the conditioning.
Was there any part of your childhood that you would deem normal, typical?
There were a lot of normal parts. It seemed whenever there was someone else around, we were the, I guess, quintessential family.
You said your mother would take you on jobs with her. Was she prostituting at that time?
She was prostituting. She wouldn't actually take me. It was a suggestion.
Okay, but you wouldn't actually go, but you knew. Did you know what she was doing?
Yes.
Did you know what it was?
Truthfully, I didn't really even know what sex was until I was shown.
Your mother videotaped this.
Yes. She would frequently stop the video camera and give me tips. Look this way, move my head in a specific way. I thought they had my best interest in mind.
And later, you haven't seen your father face to face since you were 13 years old. This first time that you were forced to do this sex act with your father, your mother videotaped this.
Yes.
She set up a camera and she was right there.
Yeah.
And what did she say?
She would frequently stop the video camera and, as I said, give me hints, tips sometimes as far as, you know, look this way, you know, move this direction, do this, move my hand in a specific way, move my head in a specific way.
And when that was over with, what happens after that? This is over with, the camera's put away. What do you go have dinner? Do you go watch television? What happens next?
Yeah, it was just a part of a normal night. One of the reasons
like
why nothing had happened, nothing unusual had happened anyway. I mean, maybe you did a good job tonight or something to that effect, but it was, you know, dinner, dessert. Every once in a while we'd go out for ice cream, and it was just normal stuff.
You said at one point she took you in the bathroom and taught you how to French kiss.
Yes.
By kissing her.
Yes.
What was the reason, the context for her doing that? She was teaching you this for what purpose?
So that I would know how to kiss my boyfriends, and so that I would be able to do it on camera to Jim as well.
Your biological father?
Yes.
Teaching you how to French kiss your biological father?
Yes. By kissing me.
So these were special lessons?
Yes.
To please men?
Yes.
Alcohol was involved?
Yes.
They would give you alcohol?
Several times, yes.
Did you get you loopy?
Yeah.
And they did. You got loopy?
Yeah, quite a few times.
Now, you say the first time that he actually tried to have sex with you, it was unsuccessful, right?
Right.
Because you were so young.
Yeah, and
you felt like you had let him down.
Yeah, I did. I tried so hard to please him and, well, please both of them, and be the princess that I was supposed to be. I thought they had my best interest in mind. I didn't know that this wasn't something that all parents didn't do.
Right. And how often did this happen?
Usually at least once a week. it was brought up beforehand, I usually tried to at least push it back a little bit without disappointing them. It was rather hard because they did tell me that if I wanted to stop or if I didn't want to do it, then I could just tell them. But if I did that, they would be so disappointed in me. And then, of course, all of the attention and the affection would stop.
So once a week, and you're talking about across a couple of years here, so we're talking about like 100 times. This happened a lot.
Yeah.
How much of this was videotaped?
Most of the encounters, especially when it came to actual sex, were videotaped, just because anything not on camera basically was a waste. Of course, we talked about a lot of things. Jim would bring up pornography on the computer and show me, and see, look how much they're enjoying it and that type of thing.
And they started with lingerie pictures, naked pictures at 11. So video and still. So obviously these were all product. These were intended to be sold.
Yes.
And this was all to pay for your school, you were told.
Yeah.
This is going to pay for your tuition.
Yeah, it was to send me to college. It was to get us bigger houses. It was to make sure that I covered my car and my books for school, and make sure I could go to one of the best schools, because education was supposedly very key.
Well, we're going to take a break. Amanda's mother, Justine, spent 15 years in prison for her crimes. She's here today. She says she had no idea her ex-husband, Jim, was grooming their daughter. In fact, she says it took him 3 whole months to convince her that Amanda joined in their sex acts. Amanda takes issue with a lot of what her mother has to say. She takes issue with what seems to be selective memory on her mother's part. We're going to talk about that when we come back.
Jim would talk about how it would be better if she learned about sex from someone who truly loves her rather than from a stranger. I fought for about 3 months and then finally did give in. We did have sex with our daughter.
And later,
You feel like you've done nothing wrong.
20 years ago, these kinds of things were laughed about, joked about. Yeah,
you're telling me that raping your child was wink, nod, yuck, yuck? Are you kidding me? Well, Amanda's mother spent 15 years in prison for sexual assault and exploitation of a child. And Amanda says her mother was not only her coach, but was a willing participant in her abuse. Justine disagrees. She says she was clueless to her ex's grooming of Amanda and says she even tried to stop the abuse once. She claims it was her ex, Jim, who forced her to partake in the sexual abuse and exploitation of their daughter.
Almost 20 years ago, my then husband, Jim, approached me to teach our daughter about making love. Jim found out how much money could be made from child pornography. Jim would talk about how it would be better if she learned about sex from someone who truly loves her rather than from a stranger. I fought for about 3 months and then finally did give in. We did have sex with our daughter. The first time Jim tried to have sex with Amanda, she said it hurt. I made him stop. I was in about 3 videos with my daughter. Jim was abusive. He would attach clothespins to my private parts. One night I woke up and his hands were about my head and neck. I believe that he groomed Amanda and played us against each other because we were so close. I felt threatened when he said he would take Amanda away from me. He was always after me to encourage Amanda to be more receptive to him, even while I was gone. And I told him no, I didn't want him doing anything if I wasn't there. I couldn't control it. I asked her if she wanted it to stop. She said yes. We ended up being arrested before I could tell Jim that it was over. Wasn't gonna happen again. I didn't know what had happened behind my back. I found out when we were in court at our hearings, when there were pictures shown that I'd never seen. I received a letter that Amanda had sent. She was very angry. She said she didn't want anything more to do with me. If I could take it all back, I would. I hate myself for what I did.
Okay. To catch you up, I've been talking with Amanda. And just to recap, she has shared with us from age 11 to 13 that she was groomed, seduced, forced to have sex with you and her biological father. She says that much of it was videotaped or taken pictures of it. She says that you were an active participant in this, that you videotaped the first sex act with her father, that you took her into the bathroom, you taught her how to French kiss so she could do it with men, with her father, that you gave her tips along the way, that you were very much an active participant in this entire thing. Is that true?
It is true. I did those things. I did them according to what Jim wanted me to do, and I went along with it. I don't deny it. I regret it, but I don't deny it. I'm not going to deny it. It was wrong.
Well, yes. You were supposed to be my mother. You were supposed to be the one to have my best interest at heart. I would lay down my life for any one of my children. You said stop? Why didn't you say more? Why couldn't you have said something? Just known out of some kind of human decency that I know has to reside in you somewhere. Why couldn't you have said this was the life that you chose for yourself? Why did you have to choose it from me?
I know I made poor choices. And I did say stop. I fought with Jim about it for a long time. There were a lot of things that I didn't know were happening before he even brought it to me. You say from the age of 11? You were 12 when I was brought in. I wasn't there enough, and I admit that. I was a prostitute. I know my morals were badly eroded then. And
And you condemned me to follow in those footsteps.
At what point does a mother get behind a video camera and watch her daughter performing a sex act on her father? What do you say to yourself?
I'm curious too. I want to know what you told yourself.
When I was about 8 or 9, my parents sat me down and told me that Justine had sex for money. She was my role model. I loved her so much. Even after I realized that she was a prostitute, Justine kind of had this air of being the queen of sex. She portrayed it as very glamorous. They taught me that it was a victimless crime. Every time I see Justine, she just incites in me this rage that I wish I could show her how much pain she's inflicted on me throughout the years.
I know my morals were badly eroded then. And
And you condemned me to follow in those footsteps. Did you want to see me become a prostitute?
no, no,
Really?
no, no. I wanted a better life for you than what I was doing. I didn't want you to ever be a prostitute.
You told me you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed the power of it. There were things going on that I wasn't aware of, and there were things going on that you weren't aware of. Jim used you against me, and me against you. He kept putting us to where you thought I liked it, and I thought you liked it.
Then why didn't you
You don't
leave him?
Don't you? I did, Amanda. I did before all this started.
Not long enough.
And my little girl cried to me, Mama, I want to go home to Daddy. I made the worst choice to bring you up to my level. You were my best friend, and that was
Wrong. I wasn't supposed to be your best friend.
No, you weren't.
You
You
were
were supposed to be my daughter, and you have the right to be angry. I don't blame you for being angry. I don't blame you at all. None of this was your fault. And yes, I blame myself for not being the strongest woman you needed.
I guess in that one way you did succeed. I'm much stronger than you are.
You are. You are.
What do you mean he played you against each other, that she telling you she wanted it, telling her you wanted it? At what point, in what convoluted parallel universe does a mother get behind a video camera and watch her daughter performing a sex act on her husband and her father? What do you say to yourself? You're focusing this lens here. You had to say something to yourself that said, this is a good idea. I want to get a good picture here.
I'm curious too. I want to know what you told yourself.
What went through your head at that moment?
You and I were both drinking, don't you remember? No, it's not an excuse.
Oh.
It's a fact, okay? And
Okay, well let's.
nothing makes it right. Nothing's going to make it right.
No, I'm not trying to. Trust me. I'm not trying to make sense out of nonsense. I'm not trying to make it right.
Either.
I'm just
I
looking
was
for the
wrong.
first link in the chain. So what went through your head when you said, all right, I'm going to ply my daughter with alcohol. I'm going to put her in an altered state of consciousness and I can film this. What went through your head when you said, okay, here, let me pour her a drink and hand her this so she can get raped by her father? What went through your head when you poured that drink? There's some first link in this chain, and I'm going to back up till we get to it.
What went through my head is he'll take her away from us. He'll take her away from me.
Don't you think maybe that might have
It would have
worked out
been
a
the
little
best
bit better?
thing. Yes. But hindsight's 20/20.
Take her away? What do you mean take her away?
Take her away. I'd been convicted as a prostitute. And he threatened to take her away. Said no court will ever give a child to a convicted prostitute.
There's a reason for that.
Okay, so
And you're right, you're right. He'd already taken you away once because I told him we couldn't afford a vacation. So he just picked you up and took you away. I know I'm not right here. I know that
He made you feel guilty if you weren't participating in the rape of your daughter?
To watch him do those things to me, to participate even, how did you have the stomach?
Listen, there are a lot of people at home right now. There are a lot of girls at home right now that are in a situation where they don't know what to say. They don't know where to turn. Right now, they're being raped and abused by some member of their family, and they don't know who to trust and where to turn. And what I'm trying to put on display here is what kind of logic, what kind of conversation you're having with yourself that made it okay with you to go over and over and over for this to happen. This didn't happen once. I wrote down a number of the things you said about this. One, it wasn't easy for Amanda. It wasn't easy for me either. It's frustrating for me. Seriously, you're putting you and Amanda as sharing a bad experience here.
You were frustrated. I was killed inside. My innocence was stolen from me. I was thrust into an adult world, and you were frustrated.
You're the adult.
You're the mother. You're the one that's supposed to realize to think deep down, is this best for my child? To watch him do those things to me, to participate even, how did you have the stomach? I was getting stabbed in the heart, but you were frustrated.
She said, I'm going to be okay. I've gone through 13 years of therapy.
You handed down
Amanda.
a life
sentence
you have
to
a right. Me.
You need this. You have the right.
Now I have the right. Now I have
ahead.
the voice.
Go ahead. I'm glad you're stronger than me. I am so glad that you're stronger than me.
You have no idea what it feels like. I was
so glad when we were arrested. I knew it got us out of that.
Me too.
Especially when it got you out of it.
Yes.
I can
Do you
be
have any
beat up.
idea
I can handle
how
this.
many times, whenever Jim was telling me that this would pay for a college for me, do you know where I wanted to go for college? As far away from you as I could get.
I'm glad. You have a better life now.
I do. A much better life.
You have so much better than
because
than
I
we could have
learned
given
everything
you.
Not to do from you.
Yeah.
Your mother said rather than being left and tearing the family apart, became subservient with Jim.
I became subservient to him long, long time ago.
How? Why? How could you do that? You could have done so much better for yourself and for me.
Well, she said Jim cajoled, made me feel guilty, and threatened to take Amanda. I didn't want to lose Amanda. So he cajoled her. He made her feel guilty about this. Guilty about what?
Guilty about not wanting to help him get the money to send her to college.
He made you feel guilty.
He made me feel
if you weren't participating in the rape of your daughter?
Yeah.
Listen.
You know we didn't call it rape. It was rape, but we didn't call it that.
Are you telling me you didn't know that your husband was raping your daughter?
I didn't know he was doing some of the things before.
Well, what about things you did know? Well, what about the things you did know when he did bring you in?
Yeah.
Did you videotape when she did the sex act? Did you not videotape that?
I videotaped it, yes.
So you did know it?
I did know.
So you did know he was over there raping your daughter, and you're videotaping it. Are you telling me you didn't say, I'm videotaping a rape of my daughter by her father?
I kept saying to Amanda, Amanda, if this doesn't feel right, let me know, stop.
I was scared when released from prison. It took a lot out of me. Amanda said we couldn't have a relationship because it was too stressful. I didn't understand it. It broke my heart.
For her.
Yes, it was very stressful for me.
You didn't understand why she didn't want to have a relationship with you?
We had, while I was in prison, we had talked on the phone. When I went to my father's funeral, she came and sat with me the entire time. We talked.
She says it hurts me when she leaves the room when I'm in. I want to talk to her. She won't look at me.
I do that so to keep from basically taking out my rage on you.
If you want to hit me,
my
hit
pain,
me.
the pain that I have to endure every single time I see your face is unbearable to me. Do you have any idea how ashamed?
You have nothing to be ashamed of. It wasn't your fault.
How was I supposed to know that?
What do you feel when you look at her?
Hatred, pure and simple.
What do you feel when you look at her?
Just hatred, pure and simple. But you feel like you're some kind of victim in this? Magnify that times 1,000 and you might have an idea how I feel.
As I've said, and
You chose to be a victim. I didn't.
I'll give you that.
You said I was scared for my life. I feared for Amanda's life. That's why I did what he wanted.
When he came back from deployment, Lebanon, Grenada, I woke up one night. His hands were around my head and my neck. He was ready to snap me in my neck. The next morning, I couldn't even talk about that. He had done that several times.
Do you have any idea how many times I tried to take my own life because I was so ashamed?
You have nothing to be ashamed of. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your
how
fault
was I
at
supposed
all.
to know that?
I'll take the blame for it, Amanda.
You said
I'll take full
you
blame.
even said
You are to
if I
blame
would
for
have
it.
shown,
I am.
if I
You're
would have
right.
told you that I wanted it to stop, then you would have stopped it.
Yeah.
I did tell you that. I, for years, carried the guilt on myself.
And when
Thinking it was my fault, I should have said something. How do you think that made me feel? That I felt like I screwed up my own life. I felt like I was the one that messed up my own life.
Her life has been hard since the day you raped her.
I don't know how to apologize anymore, Amanda.
Don't apologize, it's just words.
It's been 20 years since Amanda has seen her father, Jim, the man who forced her to perform sexual acts when she was just 11 years old. When we come back, Amanda comes face to face with her father, her abuser, for the first time since she was 13 years old.
I started grooming her the day she was born. I used my relationship with her as her father. I never had guilt or second thoughts after my first time with Amanda, or any of those times. I didn't see her as my daughter. I saw her as a person playing a role.
Well, we have run out of time today. Amanda's father is here, and we are going to hear what he has to say about the years of sexual abuse Amanda suffered at his hands. You do not want to miss that. We'll see you tomorrow.